Okay, here we go again. This is Saturday, and I'll explain why I'm so late this week. But here's the end music. You are listening to KPCA LP, Petaluma, California, at 103.3 FM and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. And this is the Midnight Skeptic. The views of the Midnight Skeptic are not, repeat, not necessarily the views of KPCA or any of its affiliates. Okay, this is the Midnight Skeptic, show number 102. It'll be going out on this Sunday, the 8th, at the usual time, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. For all of my East Coast listeners, it'll be actually midnight when you guys get the show. However, I'm recording this now on Saturday, the 7th of January. Happy New Year, everybody. And the reason that it's being recorded now on Saturday is I just got out of the hospital, Kaiser. The condition that I have is autoimmune hemolytic anemia. I needed a couple of blood transfusions. But I feel better and I'm on medications and so I'm gonna have to take a sip here right away. Excuse me, my throat is kind of crackly. There's nothing else wrong with me except for little tiredness and shortness of breath. Other than that, I'm fine. Okay, so welcome to 1 hour of wokeness. WOKENESS. I am proudly woke, and my goal by doing this show is to help rid this country of all of the left behind stench of the orange sociopathic bloat bag. He hasn't quite gone away yet, but hopefully 2023 will bring us a brand new orange sociopathic bloat bag free country. Okay, that means I'm talking about Republican Party, MAGA heads, gun nuts, and right-wing cosplaying militias. Yes, I'm talking about you, Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, Boogaloo Boys, 3%ers, Wolverine Watchers, and all of that ilk. Okay, especially the ones who hate, fear, despise peaceful drag storytime performers and strut around cosplaying, intimidating, AK-47 carrying and stroking their long, hard gun barrels, which are their substitute penises. Okay, having said all that, if any of you dudes are listening, send all hate mail and death threats. It's MAGA heads are the only ones who really do that. Poll workers and other people that are carrying on with their lives in a peaceful, loving, understanding manner who get these death threats and things. They're all MAGA heads. They're all Republicans. Okay, anyway, send all hate mail and death threats and helpful suggestions if you have some for me to the Midnight Skeptic at gmail.com. It's all one word, all lowercase. It's not hard. Okay, I got out of the hospital Thursday night, the 5th, from Kaiser, down in Santa Fe. And I told you what I had, autoimmune hemolytic anemia. And it is an outbreak of my own antibodies breaking apart the red blood cells in my bloodstream. Okay. And my hematologist / oncologist is trying to figure out why that started up. So they've been taking blood samples at the Kaiser lab over here, right and left, and sending it off to this super laboratory in Sacramento to figure out what caused it. And then I'm the most common blood type there is, O positive. But they can't just take any O positive because I have this situation. So they have to treat the blood somehow in order to make it safe to inject into me. And it may be that periodically I will just have to go in for a transfusion, a couple of bags of blood, which I had sent down from their lab in Sacramento to the San Rafael Kaiser. But they have my recipe on file now. So Kaiser is good. My entire working life after I got out of college and the Navy has been with Kaiser. And I have no complaints. Sometimes the wait is a little long, but wow. Okay. Socialized medicine is just like they have in the EU and other progressive countries is a good thing because in this country, Barack Obama got his name associated with the health plan that was passed during the Obama administration. It became called Obamacare, and Republicans just won't like that. He's a black guy. We can't have that. Okay, but the world would be much better off if all countries, especially ours, would have some form of socialized medicine. Let's see, what is the actual name of it? The Patient Protection Act, the PPA. Anyway, I'm having a slight brain freeze on what Obamacare is really called, but we need it, and I applaud President Obama and Nancy Pelosi for ushering through this act that helps us all. And the Republican-run states, mainly down in the South, who won't expand Medicare and expand Obamacare to the people who just can't, for whatever reason, get their own medical insurance. Need I bash Republicans more than I already do? I don't think it's necessary. Okay. All right. Shout outs. I got to remind you again that the State of the Free Press 2023 is out now. It's a book by Mickey Huff and I don't have it written down here, but his co-author. If you go to projectcensored.org and order this book, Mickey Huff will send it to you signed. Okay, I've got to do shout outs beyond that. Mickey Huff, he lives up in the Sacramento area somewhere and commutes down to Diablo Valley College, where he's a professor of communications and history. Okay. Alrighty. Locally, Tom Gaffey at the Aquas Cafe. Oh man, I've already blown it. Tom Gaffey is the manager of the Phoenix. John Crowley is the owner of Aquas Cafe. All right. Nariman, Tom and Nancy, Rich and Kathy, Kevin and Lori up in Katati. And Dennis and Megan down in Tiburon. And in San Francisco, Yvonne Santos. Down in Pacifica, Stan and Kathy and Lefty Susan Miller. Down in L.A., Jackie and Wayne Kolar and their two daughters, Melanie and Samantha. Arizona, my brother Brandon and his wife Mina and their daughter Andrea, who is my niece and a nurse. Take care of yourself, Andrea. This new variant of COVID is rearing its ugly head. I got to take another sip here. This is grape juice, by the way. Okay. I'm going to, after the shout outs, I'm going to do a little attempt at an explanation of the troubles that cropped up last week's show, which kind of truncated it. But anyway, continuing with the shout outs. Okay, Arkansas, Shannon Reed, Florida, Amelia Beamer and Nelson and Alice. North Carolina, Dr. Dave, my favorite lung doctor. Thank you for the long-term or long-range communication with my lung doctor here, Dr. Prasad at Kaiser. Okay, Long Island, Geraldine Goldfinger. Incidentally, one of the nurses at the ER where I checked in Tuesday night happened to grew up in Merrick, Long Island, and she went to Calhoun High School, where my late wife went to high school. Coincidence? Coincidence. Okay. In Sonora, Robert and Colleen Finnegan, Bob and Sandy Fisher, Martha and Brad Fisher. Martha, who is a nurse, take care of yourself. Darrell Larson, Judy May, Leonidas Maciel, Kathy Francis, Lynn Quayle, John Gleason, and his two daughters, Jennifer and Tiffany, and all the way down to Mexico City, Rosie Lopez Negrete. Okay. Okay. Enough of the shout outs. Now, I'm looking at my screen and it's clicked on recording, and it's switched over from start recording to stop recording. Okay, when I'm ready to stop recording, I just click on it and I see that the REC colon with a little red dot is up to 14 minutes and 15 seconds right now. I've got to pay more attention to that time because at some point lately it reverts to 0000000, which means, I think, I'm not a tech guy, that it has stopped recording without me touching anything. I've gone over the problem with my recording engineer, Dennis, and he thinks that I have so many Midnight Skeptic downloads that it's beginning to do that on its own. Well, this is kind of an experiment to see if it's going to do it again. Okay, it's up to 15 minutes now. But I was cut off last week's show, and I saw that it was 0000, and so I just stopped. And it was cut off. Okay, but I'm going to continue with the topics that I was going to cover on last week's show that didn't make it. So here we go. This is a week old portion of this show, and so here we go. This is kind of like a makeup. Okay, good news. I always promised that I would start off every show with good news, and I am trying to fulfill my promise to the listeners that suggested that. Okay? Okay, this is good news. Maybe Jair Bolsonaro, who lost, L-O-S-T, the previous election, just like the orange sociopathic bloat bag lost our 2020 election. Well, Jair Bolsonaro, where do you think he might have traveled to lick his wounds? Mar-a-Lago, to be with his orange sociopathic bloat bag buddy. Sip, sip, sip. Okay, so, all right, typical MAGA Head news. Republican representative-elect from New York, George Santos, he's been in the news all last week and before that, but he's from New York and he's from the 3rd District. He lied about practically everything in his life. I'm not going to go into all of the different things that he's lied about, but Kevin McCarthy needs to have him in the House. So McMAGA will not do anything about him. Santos did not work for any financial corporations. He did not get a BA degree. He's not Jewish. He's not gay. He's not wealthy, and on and on and on and on. Okay, enough about him. And last night, the Republicans finally, after vote after vote after vote, I think it was 17 votes in total in the House of Representatives, they finally elected or chose or whatever, Kevin McCarthy. I'm ashamed that he's a Californian, but anyway, he's the new Speaker of the House, and he gave away all power that the Speaker of the House has to kind of regulate things. Okay, hey, that's the first time I've ever got to use that sound effect on one of my shows. Okay, where are we? Okay, real good news for the environment, for clean energy, for California. Solar panels will begin to be installed over the hundreds of miles of irrigation canals, mainly in the Central Valley irrigated farmland. There's a lot of cement-coated irrigation canals in there, and evaporation from them is humongous. We lose a lot of water. Now, today we're having a rainstorm here in California, and it's going to be going on for the whole week. So one might think that the drought is over with. Well, it's not. We're going to have about 4 or 5 rainstorms just like this one in order to drag California out of the drought that we're in. Well, it may end up being not just a drop in the bucket, but a lot of drops in the bucket. This is just one thing that will help with California's drought. Okay, solar panels will begin to be installed over the hundreds of miles of irrigation canals, mainly in the Central Valley farmland. Project Nexus, Nexus, will begin in 2023. This has already been planned and started, at least on paper, but it's a real thing, and it's scheduled to come online in 2024. University of California at Merced is a partner in Project Nexus, and they say that the panels could not only generate substantial power, 13 gigawatts, but also cut down the evaporation from the canals, thus helping with California's drought, and it will help California achieve its goal of net zero by 2045. Incidentally, Governor Newsom took the oath of office to be governor of California yesterday. Love was such an easy game to play. So anyway, that was Friday the 6th. There was, I think, a state superior court judge swearing him in, and he was there with his wife and his 4 kids, a beautiful family. And he kind of riffed on the repressive regimes that in states that are being run by Republican MAGA heads. Okay, another sip. Okay, the time is still going on. It's 22. Okay. New topic. Decent religious leaders, good news. I'm always heartened when faith leaders come together in a sensible, kind way to do things. Okay, well, here's some good news. Okay, more than 150 faith leaders from all over the country are telling Governor Greg Abbott of Texas, of course he's a Republican, who is a practicing Catholic, that his targeting of asylum seekers has been, quote, inhumane, unquote. This is from their religious leaders report. He bussed more than 100 vulnerable people to the D.C., specifically to Kamala Harris's house. Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris's house, quote, without notifying anyone in the District of Columbia that they were coming. He has done this many times before, not notifying destination cities as a political stunt. To Republicans, meanness and cruelty is the whole point. Well, if we're mean enough to these immigrants, maybe they won't come. The temperature in D.C. on arrival last night, now, this is a week old, and I think I tried to record last week on a Wednesday, so that was like, the December 28th, I think. But anyway, so the exact date is not important. Okay, but the temperature was low. They were having snowstorms back there, and Greg Abbott and the Texas MAGA Head Republican creeps loaded these people on buses and took them to Washington, D.C. Some of them were very young kids. There wasn't enough blankets to go around. They weren't wearing clothing that was appropriate for snowy weather. Okay, but he did it anyway. Cruelty is the point in Republican circles. Okay, the temperature in D.C. on arrival last night was sub-freezing. Okay, Abbott has directed his Attorney General, Ken Paxton, the criminal, to, quote-unquote, investigate Catholic humanitarian organizations who he claims have helped immigrants unlawfully cross into Texas. And about Ken Paxton, he is under investigation by the Department of Justice for financial crimes and bribery crimes and fraud crimes. This has been going on for 3 or 4 years. When are they going to arrest this Ken Paxton and lock him up? Lock him up. New topic. The GOP MAGA Head obsession with sex, gender, and genitalia continues. South Carolina State Senator Danny Verdin, capital Verdin, he's a Republican, of course, filed a joint resolution that would amend the South Carolina Constitution to establish that the words male and female be defined, quote, in the context of reproductive potential without regard to an individual's psychological, chosen, or subjective experience of gender. And I Googled Danny Verdin, Verdin. He's a graduate of Bob Jones University. That's the one. Bob Jones was an evangelical TV preacher, and one of the rules they had up until recently was there was to be no interracial dating after they finally allowed blacks to even go to it. I don't know why blacks would want to go to it, but anyway. And he's a 1986 graduate, and he is associated, Danny Verdin, associated with the fundamentalist Free Presbyterian Church. Christians, there are good Christians, good-intentioned Christians, and then there are just sneaky, hateful Christians. There's no hate like Christian hate. Another sip. Time. Okay, it reverted to 0-0, but it's still going forward. It is now at 29 minutes. No, hold on. I misread this. The recording has been going on for 29 minutes. Okay. All right. My bad. Gotta. You're getting old when it's difficult to read a digital time printout rather than a clock with hands on it. Oh, okay. And this was written last week, so I was recording it on like the 28th or 29th. December 31st was the last day for victims of the myriad clergy sexual abuse in this state to file criminal complaints. And I've gone off on that about it's not just Catholic priests. It happens in all denominations and all what do you call them? Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, Christian. They're not denominations. Faiths, I guess. Okay. It's not unique to the Catholic faith that Catholic priests are just buggering the altar boys and impregnating young girls. They all do it. The fundamentalist Jewish religion, the Hasidim, in my opinion, it's just one big cult of abusive females, really. Mormons, and what they prefer to be called is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That's just way too long for me. I don't care what they think. I'm calling them Mormons. Okay. There is abuse. Well, the Islamic religion is just one big abuse of females from my point of view. What's going on right now in Iran, women are allowed now by edict of the current Ayatollah to end their education at third grade. Why any self-respecting woman in the Middle East would still adhere to the Islamic faith is just beyond me. And it's not just the hijab thing or the burqa thing. Those are just outward manifestations of the low opinion that Allah has toward women. And the male imams would say that we're protecting our women. We're elevating them to a pedestal. We worship our women. That's BS. Okay. All religions are misogynistic. Okay. I'm catching up with what I missed out on last week. Okay. Here is a sneaky, creepy Christians update. Okay. The WAA. Okay, that's an organization, and that stands for Wreaths Across America. They lay Christmas wreaths on the headstones of fallen members of our military. Okay. Now, what could be wrong with that? We're just celebrating Christmas by decorating military headstones in military cemeteries. Why am I being so mean to them? Well, is every one of our fallen military personnel Christian? What about the Jewish servicemen that have given their lives for our country. What about the servicemen who have no beliefs of any kind? This WAA organization is, in their minds, are doing us a favor by decorating every headstone, Christian or not, or Jewish, or Islam or Buddhist. That's how sneaky these Christians are. Am I being overly picky? If you were to ask a Christian, they would say that he hates us. Well, organizations like this, I do, okay? And evangelical denominations of Christianity, I extremely dislike and disagree with their sneaky methods. Okay, all right. Continuing in this vein, at the memorial at Club Q in Denver, Colorado, a town near Denver, where there was a shooting. And there was a memorial out in front of Club Q. I think there were 5 deaths as a result of the Club Q shooting. The memorial, when they have candles and bouquets of flowers and mylar balloons. Somebody had put 5 crosses in front of Club Q, and there were, of course, candles and bouquets of flowers that kind of were placed around all these crosses. And I don't know. I tried to find out, but I don't know who put the crosses there. But since Christians hate the LGBTQ community, this is my supposition. It is my opinion. I don't know this for sure, but there's probably some evangelical church around there that got a committee together to get crosses, and the minister or pastor, whoever, said, we've got to get out there and put those crosses there, and God will look kindly on that gesture, and maybe we can save a soul or two by showing people that Jesus loves us all. And that was, I am pretty sure that 5 out of 5 shooting victims being evangelical Christians who would want to be memorialized by crosses. It's kind of, the odds are against that. Okay, I'm off my notes, of course, as you can see. All right, I'm up to 38 minutes here. Okay, this is going well. I don't know. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, but sip time. Okay, my notes. Got to look at my notes. At the memorial at Club Q in Colorado Springs, that's the town I was trying to think of, where 5 were killed, crosses. Not only were there 5 crosses there, but there was the fish symbol, on a piece of paper, I guess stapled to the crosses or something. And the fish symbol has been the symbol of Christians being persecuted, just like in the Roman times. If Christians spend an inordinate amount of time feeling sorry for themselves, The people don't want to be saved. They don't want to find Jesus. So we're going to try to shove it down their throats. Okay? Again, I'm off my notes. Let's see. And flowers and candles accumulated around these crosses, along with these stapled on upside down fish symbols. How did the Christians know that all the victims were Christians or were of any religion at all? The fish is a symbol of Christian persecution. And for Christians, any other belief that is not biblical is persecution. Christians are fond of saying they love everyone. When it comes to taking equal rights away from groups of people they don't like, they always go back to, we love the sinner, but we just hate the sin. That is BS. Just admit, Christians, that you don't like people who are different from you. The United Methodist Church delegates voted to preserve a ban on LGBTQ inclusion. No LGBTQ clergy induction and no same-sex marriages. The vote, and I'm not sure the date of this vote, it was within the last 2 months. I wrote this last week. Okay. The vote puts the U.S.'s second largest church denomination in line for a potential split. I hope they do split, and I hope it hurts. The vote was 438 to 384 for maintaining anti-LGBTQ restrictions. Okay, that was the end of last week's show. Okay, and I am going to resurrect. Okay, I'm going to go back and resurrect an article from show number, 98. Okay, all right. In my notes, I put danger alert. Okay, a growing network of MAGA Head moms is fueling book bans. The groups describe themselves as defending parental rights. Well, who could be against parental rights? Well, Moms for Liberty. Okay, and they usurped that word liberty as if it really means something to them. Okay. The groups describe themselves as defending parental rights. These groups are increasingly well-funded by, probably the Koch brothers, right-wing group. And incidentally, there's only one Koch brother left. One down, one to go. I'm not sure whether it's David Koch that's still alive or the other one, whatever his name was. These groups are increasingly well-funded and are focusing on local politics and school boards. Quote, "This is not about banning books. It's about protecting the innocence of our children," unquote, said Keith Flaugh, capital F-L-A-U-G-H. He was a founder of the Florida Citizens Alliance. And the quote continues, and not having government schools indoctrinate our kids. You're going to be hearing this a lot. They're indoctrinating our kids. They're grooming our kids. They're sexualizing our kids. They're making them kind and understanding and trying to not have them be bullies. Yeah, they'll never grow up to be Republicans if they aren't mean and cruel and teasing and poking kids that are different than they are, that don't play football. Have you noticed that Fox News, and believe me, I don't watch very much of Fox News, but every now and then I'll catch a whiff of the Five. And they get all upset and obsessed about the men on the Five. They're obsessed with their masculinity. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, in a speech she gave to her base, said that Pete Buttigieg, in his promoting of electric vehicles, was demasculizing our men. Our men should be running coal and spewing out black smoke out of their tailpipes like real men. Okay. I'm going back. I got to mention Brooke Stevens, the MAGA Head mom from Utah. She challenged 27 books in her kids' Davis School District in Utah. And she failed in her attempts to get even one of those 27 books removed. Thank goodness. There's somebody who's thinking in Utah. Okay, because of the troubles in recording and downloading, I didn't write my own notes for this week's show, so I am going back. Decent religion. Okay, good news. Okay, good posting on Facebook. We're flying electric helicopters on Mars, yet you can't turn on your clothes dryer in Texas. That's because scientists are in charge of Mars and Republicans are in charge of Texas. Here's a quick update on the pro-Putin wing of the Republican Party. Lauren Boebert and Matt Gaetz, the pedophile, refused to stand or applaud after Volodymyr Zelensky's speech to the joint session of Congress. Many MAGA heads didn't even attend it. So, well, thank goodness that we have, by we, I mean thinking, compassionate, sensible Democrats have control of the Senate, because if it were up to the Republican-controlled House of Representatives under the now leadership of Kevin the Spineless McCarthy, there would not be any more funding for the Ukrainian military effort against their defending their country against the Russian invasion. Okay. Let's see. There's. Okay. Okay, it's 50 minutes. Okay. I promised, I've said this before, that I'm going to try to end every show with good news. Well, here we are. Okay. And this is a week-old item. Adam Fox the leader of the Wolverine Watchers, another cosplaying right-wing militia group, was sentenced to 16 years in federal prison for his harebrained plot to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan and put her on trial, find her guilty, and then possibly execute her. She was sworn in again, like early last week, as governor of Michigan again. Her alleged crime, according to the Wolverine Watchers, was mask and vaccination mandates. She was just trying to protect the citizens of Michigan, given the medical recommendations at the time. MAGA Head, ignorant creeps that get all their medical knowledge online, ivermectin and hydrochloroquine, and who listen to America's frontline doctors, are the ones that are, dying off in greater numbers than are sensible people who just choose to protect themselves with masking. I've made fun of them before on this show by trying to imitate a ignorant MAGA head. Well, if it's a requirement that I wear a mask, all right. But I don't want any of those mandates. Mandates are something that the previous president wouldn't make me do. Another sip. Okay, my voice is kind of running out now. Okay, by the clock here, it's 53 minutes. I think I will just play my out music before my voice is just completely racked. And this has nothing to do with what got me into the hospital. It's just, I don't know what's causing it, but I guess ranting is what causes it. So here we go. You have been listening to The Midnight Skeptic on KPCA LP, Petaluma, California. And we're at 103.3 on the FM dial and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. Support community radio at patreon.com/Petaluma Community Access. And remember, think critically, think logically, but live joyously, and most importantly, pet your cats. For my YouTube people, that picture that I held up was a picture of Reality Winner. And she was a intelligence personnel in the Air Force, and she released some secret things that, according to our government, she shouldn't have released. I admire her a lot, and I will do a segment on Miss Reality Winner on next week's show. And I have a lot of respect for her, but Julian Assange, I just have not been able to get behind him since one of his good buddies is Roger Stone, the associate of the Orange Sociopathic Bloat Bag. So anyway, that is it. And I will do this again, until I get it right. And the next show will be broadcast on Sunday, the 15th of January. and it will be recorded sometime around the 11th or 12th. And there's plenty going on in this country now that the stupid ass Republicans have chosen a speaker, although he has no power left and will not be able to accomplish anything without the approval of Marjorie Taylor Greene, who she's leading around by the nose. Okay, so I will see you again next week, and the time on the clock says 56. So this was a successful recording, and I'm not sure exactly what went wrong last week, but it seems to be going right this week. So I will see you guys, and you can listen to me again in a week. So I'm going to click on stop recording right now.